Good morning. We will pay attention to the recording of entries in the subsidiary journals today. First of all, they give us the opening balances. So sometimes we will have to refer to the balances in the debtors ledger and creditors ledger when certain entries are completed. Issued invoice 423 for 14,000 less 15% trade discount to W. Winter for inventory sold on credit, a profit of 75% on the cost price is made. Okay, first of all, we have to determine in which journal this entry will be recorded. Issued an invoice. That means that we sold goods on credit, so we will record this in the debtors journal. Then we give 15% trade discount to this person. So it means that our sales price is not going to be 14,000. We will use the 14,000, calculate 15% trade discount, deduct the 15% to determine how much money W. Winter owes us. When we calculate the cost price, we must remember that originally we took the cost price and we added 75% to the original cost price to determine the sales price. Therefore, although we don't receive 14,000 for the sales, the cost price must be calculated on the 14,000. In the debtors journal, we will first record the invoice number. The transaction was on the 2nd. We sold goods to W. Winter. And first of all, determine what is the sales price. So because we gave 15% discount, you can either say 14,000 times 15% and deduct the figure from the 14,000. Or you can say that we only received 85% of the 14,000 and that will give me 11,900. To calculate the cost price, we know the sales price is 175. We want the cost price. So the original sales price times 100 divided by 175 will give me the cost price. So the cost price is 100%. The sales price is 175% because the profit that was added was 75. So if I want to calculate the cost price, the one that I want, 100 at the top, divide by the one provided, 175 at the bottom. Issued check 178 to Protea Stores for cash purchases of inventory at 3,200 less 10% trade discount. So we are not going to pay 3,200. We will have to calculate 10%. That will give me 320 Rand, and we will subtract that from the 3,200 to determine what is the amount that's paid out in the bank and what is our actual purchase price. Because we issue a check, it indicates that we are paying out money, so this entry will be recorded in the cash payments journal. In the cash payments journal, we will show that it is check number 178 that was issued on the 6th of May. The name that will appear on the check is Protea Stores, because that's the instruction to the bank is to pay this money to Protea Stores. We received 10% discount, so we will only pay 90% of the amount. Every amount that we record in the cash payments journal must be recorded in 2 columns to complete my double entry. The money that will be taken out of the bank will be 2,880. We are not paying a creditor. So although Protea Stores is also a creditor of the business, in this specific transaction, we bought the goods for cash. So we will indicate that our trading inventory will increase with 2,880. Received invoice 798 for 3,600 from Olivetti Stores for inventory 2,100 and a computer 1,500. So we receive one invoice to buy two different things. So the total amount that we owe Olivetti Stores will be the 3,600. But we have to split that 3,600 and indicate that 2,100 will be posted to the inventory account and 1,500 will be posted to the equipment account. Because we receive this invoice and there's no indication that we buy the goods for cash, it will be recorded in the creditors journal. In the creditors journal, we will indicate that it's document number 367, received on the 8th from Olivetti Stores. The total amount that we owe Olivetti is the 3,600, but this 3,600 was used to buy trading inventory 2,100 and equipment 1,500. You only receive one source document, so this whole entry must be one line item on the creditors journal. You will show the total amount that you owe the creditor, and then in the other columns you will make the split to indicate that this total amount includes various items like inventory and equipment. Issued invoice 424 to S. Summer for 1,800 for inventory sold on credit. A profit of 25% on sales price is made. That means that the sales price equals 100% and the cost price equals 75%, because now the profit is made on sales price. If it's made on sales price is 100. If we go back to the second, there we said the profit of 75 on cost price. So because it was in that case on cost price was 100. In the 10th, it is on the sales price, so therefore the sales price is 100. And if we want to calculate that, the one that we want, 75 at the top, divide by the 100 at the bottom, times 1,800. We are selling goods on credit, so this will be recorded in the debtors journal. Invoice number 424, issued on the 10th to S. Summer. The sales price is 1,800. The cost price will be 75% of the 1,800. That will give me 1,350. Sales according to the cash register roll. That means we received money, and this will be recorded in the cash receipts journal. A profit of 25% on sales price is made. So that means the sales price again will be 100. The cost price will be 75. So the cost price will be 75 divided by 100 times 16,000. Then there's an additional entry on the 12th. So we didn't only receive money for sales. We also received money from S. Summer, and we gave him a receipt as proof of payment of the amount that he owed on the 1st of May 2015. So we have to go back to the opening balances to determine how much money did Summer owe at the beginning of the month. And in this debtors ledger, we see that Summer owed 2,400. So the amount that we will receive from Summer here will be 2,400 rand. On the 12th, we had cash sales. So the analysis of receipts is like a till. We put all the money that we receive in the business in the till first. We don't run to the bank every time. And then I show that the entry will be recorded in sales. So I will show that bank and sales is affected by the 16,000. Then I go and I calculate what is the cost price. Because the profit was made on sales price, the cost price will be 75 of 100, and that will give me 12,000 Rand. That was not the only entry on the 12th. We also received money from S. Summer on the 12th. We gave him a receipt as proof that he paid his account, so that we can't ask him in the future to pay the account again. This money will be put into the till, and we will show that the debtors control must decrease with the 2,400. This is the last entry on the 12th. So we received 2 lots of money on the 12th, and I will add up those amounts and indicate that the total amount that will go to the bank will now be 18,400. Issued credit note 33 for 120 Rand to S. Summer for inventory returned to him. These goods were originally sold on the 10th. So if we go back to the 10th, we see that some of the goods that we sold on the 10th is now returned by him. So when we sold the goods, we recorded it in the debtors journal. So when we reduce his account, when he returns goods, we will record it in the debtors allowances journal. The profit that was made when we sold the goods was 25% on sales price. So here again, we will use that same profit percentage, sales price 100, cost price 75. The one that we want is the cost price divided by the percentage sales that we know times 120 to determine the cost price of the goods that were returned. In the debtors allowances journal, we will indicate that credit note 33 was issued on the 14th of May to S. Summer. We will reduce the sales via debtors allowances with 120 Rand, and we will calculate the cost price and indicate that the cost price will be adjusted with 90 Rand. Issued a check to Olivetti stores to pay the outstanding amount on the 1st of May. We are paying money, so it will be recorded in the cash payments journal. And in the cash payments journal, we have to show what is the amount on the check. It is not given in the transaction, so we have to go and look what was his opening balance on the 1st of May. And we owed him 5,270, so that is the amount that will appear on the check. Check number 179 is issued on the 15th to Olivetti stores. The amount on the check is 5270, and we will indicate that the creditors will decrease with 5270. Receive invoice 1980 for 1,800 less 20% trade discount. So we must deduct the 20% immediately. No entry is recorded for the trade discount because that is not the amount that we pay for the goods, and we don't owe that amount to the creditor. So 1,800 times 20% will give me 360. And if I deduct that from the 1,800, my purchase price is 1,440. We purchased these goods on credit, so it will be recorded in the creditors journal. We will change the invoice number to number 368 so that our invoice numbers can be in number order, because we receive them from various people. And if we want to trace that invoice in the future, we must know where to find it. The date is the 16th. We received 20% trade discount, so we will only pay 80% of the normal amount. That is the amount that we owe the creditors, and our cost price of the inventory is 1,440. No entry for the trade discount. Issued invoice 425 to P. Herbst for 1,500 for inventory sold on credit. A profit of 50% on costs is made, so that means the cost price is 100% and the sales price is 150%. This entry is a credit, a transaction where we sell goods, so this will be recorded in the debtors journal. Invoice number 425 issued on the 17th to P. Herbst. He owes 1,500. The cost price will be 100, cost over sales price 150, and that will give me 1,000 rand. Issued a receipt to W. Winter for 8,000 as part payment of his account. We receive money, so it will be recorded in the cash receipts journal. We will issue a receipt number 148 on the 19th to W. Winter. The money will be put in the till 8,000, and we will indicate that the debtors will decrease with 8,000. This is the only entry on the 19th, so I will take that 8,000, complete a bank deposit slip, and deposit the money in the bank. Receive invoice 827 from Olivetti Stores, 4,800. So the total amount on the invoice is 4,900, so that is the amount that we owe them. We bought goods for 4,800 and stationery for 3,600. This was purchased on credit, so it will be recorded in the creditors journal. So in the creditors journal, invoice 369 was received on the 20th from Olivetti Stores. The total amount that we owe the creditors is 4,900. The purchase price of the inventory is 4,600, and the purchase price of the stationery is 300. So when we use one invoice to buy two different things, in the creditors control account, you will show the total amount, and then you will split the 4,900 between the various columns to indicate to which ledger accounts the amounts must be posted. Receive a credit note from Olivetti Stores for inventory 220 and stationery 30 returned. We bought the goods from Olivetti Stores, recording it in the creditors journal. If we return goods to them, it means that we have to show in the creditors allowances journal that we owe less money to Olivetti Stores. Document number 72 on the 22nd, the creditor Olivetti Stores account will be affected with a total amount of 250 that we will split between inventory returned 220 and stationery returned 30 rand. Issued a check to Olivetti in settlement of the outstanding amount. If we issue a check, it means that we pay out money, so it will be recorded in the cash payments journal. To determine what is the amount we owe them, we first of all have to look what was the opening balance of Olivetti Stores. The opening balance was 5,270. Then we had an entry on the 8th for Olivetti Stores where we bought goods for 3,600 rand. So that must be added to the opening balance of 5,270. And then we issued a check on the 15th to pay Olivetti Stores the amount on the 1st. So the amount that we paid on the 15th was to cover the opening balance. So the only amount that's outstanding is this one for 3,600 where we bought goods on credit. So it's the 3,600 because the opening balance was paid. Then we bought goods from Olivetti stores on the 20th for 4,900. So I must add the 4,900. And then on the 22nd, there was a credit note for 220 that will decrease the amount that we owe them. So on the 23rd, I must determine what is the total outstanding amount, taking all the transactions from the 1st up to the 22nd into account to determine how much money we will pay. We will issue check number 180 on the 23rd to Olivetti stores for the outstanding amount on the 23rd, and we will pay them taking money out of the bank, reducing the amount that we owe the creditors. Issued a credit note to P. Herbs for 300 Rand for inventory that was sold on the 17th. We must take the profit percentage that was made on the 17th into account, and that was a profit of 50% on cost price. So when we issue this credit note, the cost price will be 100% and the sales price will be 150%. A credit note reduces the amount that the debtors owe us, so this entry will be recorded in the debtors allowances journal. And we will indicate that it's document number 34 on the 24th. The amount is 300 that we will reduce the account with, and we will work out 100 divided by 150 to calculate the cost of sales as 200 Rand. Receive a credit note for 360 from Protea stores for goods returned. When we bought the goods, we recorded it in the creditor's journal. If we return it to the creditor, we owe them less money, so it will be recorded in the creditor's allowances journal. And in the creditors allowances journal, the document will be number 73 on the 27th, received from Protea stores. We will owe the creditors 360 Rand less, and the inventory will decrease with 360. Issued a receipt to P. Herbs for payment of half his debt. So we have to determine how much money he owes up until the 28th of May. So we have to look if he owed money at the beginning of the year plus any transactions during the month with P. Herbs. There is no opening balance for P. Herbs, and if we look at the transactions between the 2nd and the 16th, we see that there's no transactions with him either. If we look at the debtors journal, we see that we had a transaction with P. Herbs on the 17th, where we sold goods for 1,500. On the 24th, he returned goods for 300. So if I subtract the 300 from the 1,500, he owes 1,200. He is paying half of the amount, so we will receive 600 from him that we will put in the till, and we will show that debtors owe 600 Rand less. On the same day, there's cash sales of 12,400. A profit of 25% on sales price is made. Because it's on sales price equals 100%, and the cost price will therefore equal 75% of the sales price. These two entries are both on the 28th. It's for money received, so it will be recorded in the cash receipts journal. We will indicate that money was received from sales in the till 12,400. Sales income increased, and we calculate 75% of the 12,400 and indicate that the cost of sales is 9,300. This is all the transactions on the 28th. So I will add the 600 and the 12,000 together, complete a bank deposit slip for 13,000, and complete an entry to show that the money in the bank increased with 13,000. Issued a check for 3,000 to Solomon Traders. When we issue a check, we will record it in the cash payments journal. Check number 181 was issued on the 31st to Solomon Traders. The money in the bank will decrease with 3,000 and the business will owe 3,000 less to the creditors. After we completed all the entries, we will add up the columns to determine what is the total for each column. In the debtors journal and debtors allowances journal, the amount is not written in two columns. That indicates that the total will be balanced and transferred to two different accounts in the ledger account. So in the debtors allowances and in the debtors journal, every total will be recorded on the debit side of one account and on the credit side of another account. In the creditors journal and the creditors allowances journal, every amount was recorded in two columns. So that means that the creditors control will be credited to increase the amount and all the others will be debited. In the creditors allowances, we will debit the creditors because we owe them less money, and all the other accounts will be credited. The bank amount appears in the sales account and in debtors control. So the bank will be debited, sales will be credited, debtors will be credited. Cost of sales is not recorded in two columns, so cost of sales you have to complete a double entry again. In the cash payments journal, the bank will be credited because the money in the bank will decrease and the other columns will be debited to the appropriate ledger accounts. What did we learn? Determine in which journal the entry must be completed. In the cash receipts, cash payments, creditors and creditors allowances journal, every amount must be recorded in two columns to complete a double entry. In the debtors journal and debtors allowances journal, the amount is only recorded in one column. Therefore, the total of each column will be posted to two ledger accounts. In the cash receipts journal, all money received is recorded in the analysis of receipts column, that is like a till, and the total amount for all the money that we receive on a specific day will be transferred as one amount to the bank account. The amount in the bank column must then equal the deposit slip that was completed when the money was deposited. In the cash payments journal, the amount that appears on the check is recorded in the bank column. If this check is used to pay for different expenses or buy different assets, the total amount will appear in the bank column and will then be split between the other columns to indicate the different payments that was made with this one check. In the sundry accounts column, you will use the amount and the ledger account. So it doesn't matter in which journal you have a sundry accounts column. If you record an amount, you have to record to which ledger account this amount will be posted. Amounts in the sundry accounts column is posted to the account in the general ledger on the date that the transaction occurred. Totals of columns are recorded on the last day of the month.